The chorus, flanger and phaser effects have a lot of similarities, both in their parameters and in how modulation is used to alter the input audio. With the reset button, they also share one powerful method of controlling the modulation. The chorus effect enriches the original sound by layering on differently pitched duplicates of itself. This can be especially useful for providing warmth and depth to simple wave shapes. As well as the usual vocal enhancements. The flanger mixes the input signal with another copy that is delayed by a small and gradually changing amount. Mild settings can help bulk up a sound. While larger values lead to the familiar wandering effect. The phaser focuses on EQ, using a series of filters to insert peaks and troughs throughout the frequency spectrum. The positions of these peaks and troughs are modulated to vary over time, creating a sweeping sound. Despite using modulation to achieve different goals, all three devices feature several identical parameters to control that common modulation. Although described differently, the amplitude of the flanger and the depth of the chorus and phaser do basically the same thing: set the upper limit of the modulation's amplitude. The rate controls the speed at which the modulation runs. You can see a visualization of what the modulation is doing underneath each effect's reset button. Clicking the reset button will reset the position of the modulation back to the beginning, and we'll fully explore the possibilities of this later in the video. Now, there are actually two modulations running, one for each of the left and right audio channels. Although they behave identically, the phase slider is used to offset the horizontal phase of the modulation for the right channel. This generates a stereo separation and is the main way that these effects introduce width into the sound. Feedback sets how much of the output audio is fed back into the device. Values below zero use a negative version of the waveform, which can result in a somewhat different sound. When the filters of the sampler's modulation section were upgraded in version 3.1, those benefits were also passed on to the filters of the chorus and flanger devices, providing greater variety for customizing your own version of these effects. The filter options underneath will change depending on the type of filter used. Since the phaser uses EQ filtering exclusively, it doesn't feature these controls, instead having the stages parameter, which sets the number of filters used. The more filters, the stronger the effect. And the floor and ceiling parameters set the frequency range that the EQ filtering takes place within. The delay parameter only appears on the chorus and flanger devices, and as you might expect, it is the length of time before the modulation actually kicks in. The chorus effect features a dry-wet slider to control the ratio of the clean and modulated signals. The flanger effect has the amount parameter, which works in a similar fashion to dry-wet, but you can also use negative values to invert the signal. As you'll have seen from the visualization, the modulation runs constantly, even while the song is stopped. So, to synchronize the modulation cycle to the song's playback, which will ensure it runs the same way each time, you have to automate the reset button. This is achieved by right-clicking on it, which places a command in the track's Master Effects column, and can be done while the song is stopped or playing. You can also control the position of the reset by manually entering the effect command, X7YY, where X stands for the location of the device in the effect chain, 1 if it's the first device, 2 if it's the second, etc. And YY is the offset value. As always, effect command values are hexadecimal. So, for example, if YY is equal to 00, then the modulation restarts from the beginning. At 40, it restarts from a quarter of the way through the cycle. 80 will be halfway, C0 3/4, and FF will restart from just before the end. If you're unfamiliar with these concepts, then check out our YouTube channel, which has videos explaining both hexadecimal and effect commands. Syncing modulation has been demonstrated here with track effects. It is possible to do the same with sample effects, though you have to set this up by using macros. So again, if you need help with this, check out our previous video on the subject.